Namaste, good evening. Today is Sunday the 15th. Tomorrow we have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio Sagittarius, but most of everybody's claiming it's going to be in Scorpio. So what I am going to address on this video log for you guys, and please, I'm a little tired. I've been cutting down trees today, the neighbors' trees we had over the neighbors' houses and whatever. But and to my goddaughter, which I will be sending this to you, congratulations. I am so proud of your achievement, and some of the people watching this video have already heard of your great accomplishment with your masters at 23. Masters at 23. That's just like amazing. So I'm very proud of you. Back to the topics for today. So one, the solar eclipse, which is also a full moon. And I sent you guys a text message regarding the philosophy of Hegel and how to apply that to, apply that to any subject that you are interested in. So I've been studying, we're on Carl Jung, 2 essays on analytical psychology. That's intense. And my greatest mentor, one of my gurus, Manly P. Hall, one of his greatest books. Look at this sucker. The title is The Secret Teachings of All Ages. It's almost 700 pages worth of information. And I think I should do the lunar eclipse stuff first, because that's important for you guys. So here we go. Full moons, new moons, eclipses, solar eclipses. I, as well as all occultists and theosophists, we understand the phases of the moon very differently than a lot of these new age spiritualists. So an occultist knows that a full moon is mostly used by sorcerers or necromancers to do malevolent things. It is not considered a good light. You can utilize it for something other than something malevolent, but it is not considered a good light. And the sorcerers in our past and cultists and sorcerers of today, they use that a full moon's light to do malice for whatever purpose that they intend. And one of the reasons that this is viewed this way by occultists, it is because it is not the direct light of the sun, but it is the reflection of the eternal light. And because it's the reflection, it is secondary. It is not the true potential. And the light, although we see it as light, has been tinted by darkness. And so this type of light is not considered sunlight. You know, the sun, the glorifying, life-giving energy. Now, I've had moon parties. I do take advantage of the moon and the full moons. and the new moons. But I do wait where the moon is in specific zodiacal positions. So then I can harvest that astrological energy. And because the ones I've chosen are not under malevolent influences, also astrologically, or they're not in oppositions or in conjunctions with, let's say, Saturn, the malevolent planet, I will take advantage and do like little celebrations and whatever. In general, so for this event, which is happening tomorrow, so we have what's called a lunar eclipse. Now, a solar eclipse is the beginning of something. It is embraced by occultists. It is that energy is tapped into. Those are like the most beneficial of the moon phasing procedures. When it now comes to a lunar eclipse, those, even in our past, have been considered malevolent. Now, just because it's malevolent does not mean it's going to affect you and myself in a negative way. And you would know if it's going to affect you in a negative way if you, based on your like astrological chart, when you were born, your natal moon, the position, the degree it was when you were born, and the if there's any interaction with that natal moon or the or Scorpio, if there was anything going on in Scorpio when you were born. I got stuff in Scorpio. So I would look when the moon would hit those degrees, because once it clicks into that number, it clicks in like a lock and key, and it creates an effect. So, solar eclipses, always yes. Lunar eclipses, maybes. Lunar eclipses in darker signs like Scorpio, Capricorn, those are the tough ones. Yeah, not so embracing. So that being said about the lunar and solar eclipse, I will not be participating with that energy. I spoke with one of my wonderful clients here in Naples, and she was like, "So don't charge my crystals." I was like, "No, you don't want to charge your crystals or any of your stuff under this malevolent light." So yeah, don't try not using this energy, even if it's not a direct influence to you astrologically. Just avoid it. Scorpio is about secrets. Scorpio, transformation, debts, taxes. Then you add the moon and those frequencies to it. So it's just like something you really don't want to be messing around with, and especially if you're not fully capable of figuring out how to grab the ladder or rope out of that hole, because that's Scorpios live in holes and attack from there. So avoid it. So back to Mr. Manly P. Hall. I bought this book some time ago. I did not pick it up because I was in the middle of reading some other stuff, but I started recently. And so I bumped into that Hegel portion. And so I'm going to pull it up on my phone because I do have a document I made from it. Hegel. Now I will, I got it here. So I just want to say that This is what I find with even with my generation and society. We read books, and I've seen people that like they'll read a book in a few days or with a week, and they're always reading and reading, and that's great. The problem is not reading the book. The problem is not also understanding what the book. What needs to occur is how do you extrapolate? How do you use the wisdom that's in those pages? And so we read, we may even memorize the text, but we don't know how to apply it. And so for me, this is where critical thinking is so vital and important, because we have to be able to sit down with a subject and be able to use it. If not, it's as pointless as buying a book and leaving it out on a shelf, and I'm not pointing and saying, calling out anybody's names. Yes, it's as equivalent as buying the best books with the best knowledge and sticking them on the shelf. It becomes useless. It's priceless. It's junk. So, it is my intention to tease you guys, to make you guys think. I will not give you the answers. I will pull the answers from you. Because I know you're all, if I'm dealing with you, I know you're smart. I know you're intellectually savvy. And the reason why I take that standpoint is because I'm allergic to stupid. I'm sure you've heard me say that before. And so if I have you in my circumference, that means I'm not allergic. So I know you're intellectually savvy and smart. Now, it is not your fault and not mine that our teachers did not teach us exactly how to extrapolate and critically analyze the data. So I'm going to read this real quickly. The question originally was, since right now the one of the hottest topics is Roe versus Wade, and my standpoint on that is, just to clarify with anybody watching this video, one, it is my standpoint that it is a woman's choice. It is her body. She makes that decision. My moral ideas or idealisms should not affect that individual. If there were such a thing as heaven and hell, which I don't subscribe to, if that's the case and we're being judged in front of a God, to me, the Christian God is such a childish 5-year-old, the way he anthropomorphized him. It's not me in front of the judge saying, oh, yeah, I had an abortion. That individual woman is the one who's going to have to stand in front of the judgment, not me. And I'm not the judge, somebody else is. So why am I going to pass judgment on what should occur? And as far as I'm concerned, the federal government, the state government should have no say in the choice of an individual and the freedoms that individual has. That being said, so this is a real hot topic, as everyone knows. It's in the news. It's being challenged. And you got these two sides. So as I was reading through the book, I bumped into this one of the philosophers, one of the great philosophers, Hegel, and as I read it, as I was reading it, I thought Roe versus Wade, and so I'm like, oh, let me share this with everybody. Let's see what we can learn from this and how to apply this philosophy. Is not an easy process. And so This is how I'll read you what Hegel says, and we'll move on from there. So Hegel writes, Hegel further believed that all things owe their existence to their opposites, and that all opposites are actually identical. That's quite interesting. Thus, the only existence is the relationship of opposites to each other, through whose combinations new elements are produced. So, how do we now apply this stanza to Roe versus Wade? So, if you take Roe versus Wade and we strip it down to its core value or its core essence? Oh, we're dealing with freedom, freedom to choose, and the opposite of that freedom is oppression. So now we're quite clear what these two opposites are. Now you can possibly pull something else. What is Roe versus Wade? It's pro-life and pro-choice. So choice, no, etc. Now let's go down to the nitty-gritty, which is freedom to choose your own path, and its opposite, which is oppression. And so those are the two opposites. Thus, the only existence is the relationship of the opposites, which means you have these two objects or two subjects, and there's a connector that connects these two subjects. And that connector creates relationship of each through whose combinations new elements are produced or birthed. So new elements can be, let's call it, it's the child of the two opposites, or the child of the relationship that these two subjects share. Now, how is it that two opposites are identical or the same thing? Well, first, one could not exist without the other. You could not know what daylight is if you did not experience the night. You could not know hunger if you were always satisfied. So these are opposites. When you look at it also through esoteric, you see through also the Kabbalion, the Hermetic laws, principles. This law of principle is called the laws of opposites. So we have two opposites, and these two are going to birth something new, their love child. What is that love child that will come or can come from this opposition? And that becomes a great question. If you can determine what that birth child is, it's almost like determining if it's going to be a boy or girl, will give you greater insight of what the future holds. By knowing the child, you will know what the future holds. So if these two opposites create a new child, a new element, what is the new child? When you can realize what the new child is, you would elevate it yourself on the scales of the ladders, because you'll know what's coming, and if you need to prepare, you prepare. If not, you just know, like me, you just know. And one good thing about knowing is it doesn't overwhelm you. It doesn't take you by surprise. you're in a way you anticipate it. And while everybody's, oh my God, and this, and you're like, I knew it was coming. And you can better prepare and have better actions and whatever. So that is the $1,000,000 question that's for you guys to answer. And I'm going to throw more of these at you. I find them fun. And I hope they inspire you guys. And since we are always becoming, or we want to become better, why not? Now back to this guy. Now, like I said, it's about 600, almost 700 pages. It's an easy read. I do recommend it. It's a good. It's good, and I'm not just saying that because it's Manly people, but because it's good. It's right now. I'm in the sector of the initiation of the pyramids. So he covers some of the subjects about initiation. I just Mitra. The Druids he covered. I did that one already, and it's quite intense. It's not an in-depth subject. If you wanted to like read exactly the whole literature that's available, he does give you the names of the books. One that he recommended, which I do have, and I also started, but that one will take me a while, which is Madame Blavatsky's Secret Doctrine. And that book is intense. It's not something that you could just read. Even I can't just read and be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But it's awesome. It is very awesome. It tells you the beginning as an occultist, the origins of creation. And how that affects us and the stages of life that we've gone through. And Madame Blavatsky was, let's say, the pioneer of what we now experience as New Age spiritualism. Although this new stuff is just like, not that it's weird, it's so small and limited. I think if she were to see this, like be here and witness what people are doing now, she'd be like, oh my God, these people, they're lost. But it's also understandable because as there's a passage in the Bible that Jesus says, don't waste your pearls on the swine. And the Kabbalion says, my lips are closed except to the ears of understanding. I think it was something like of that nature. Means don't waste your time sharing knowledge and that type of stuff with someone who just can't understand it or get it. So Madame Blavatsky, it's another about like 900-page book. It's in two separate books, and then she has Isis Unveiled. And that one's supposed to be also quite intense. And this stuff I'm sharing with you is like occult literature. Highly recommended. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go because I'm cooking for my husband. As you all know, my husband August. Don't eat leftovers, and so you gotta cook for him every day. And I started late because we were outside trimming trees. I gotta go check up on his food. All right, my friends, it's been a great pleasure. Namaste.